This is the practical episode, the one where we actually do it. We've covered what Bitcoin is, why it exists, why it's not a scam, how it compares to banks, why now is a good time to understand it, and how wallets work. That's the foundation. Now we're going to walk through what it actually looks like to buy your first amount of Bitcoin, step by step, in the right order, without skipping anything important. If you've already picked up our guide, Buying Your First Bit of Bitcoin, this episode runs alongside it perfectly. If you haven't, it's in the description for $15 and covers all of this in a format you can keep and refer back to. Either way, let's get into it. Before you open a browser tab, before you search for an exchange, there are 3 things worth getting clear in your head. Not because they're complicated, they're not, but because getting them wrong is the most common source of regret for new buyers. The first is that you don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. We've said this before, but it's worth repeating, because it genuinely stops people. Bitcoin trades at a price most people can't write a check for, but you can buy $20 worth, $10 worth, whatever makes sense for you right now. The goal of your first purchase is not to make a big financial statement, it's to understand how the process works. The second is only use money you're comfortable with. Bitcoin's price moves, sometimes significantly. If the amount you put in dropped by half tomorrow, would it affect your rent, your groceries, your life? If yes, start smaller. There's no minimum threshold for learning this. And the third, this is a long-term asset, not an urgent decision. If something or someone is making you feel like you need to act right now, that's a red flag, not a reason to hurry. Now, choosing an exchange. An exchange is simply the platform where you buy Bitcoin with regular money. You want one that's regulated, established, has clear fees, requires ID verification, and has good reviews from real users. Well-regarded options include Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini globally, BTC Markets and Independent Reserve if you're in Australia or New Zealand, Swan Bitcoin if you're in the US and want a Bitcoin-only platform. Don't overthink this. Any reputable, regulated exchange from that list is a fine starting point. The differences between them are mostly about fees, interface, and which countries they serve. Pick one, look it up, check it's available in your country, and go. Account setup is where most people underestimate the time involved. Budget 15 to 30 minutes if your documents are ready. Sometimes the verification queue runs slower than that, especially on busier exchanges. Start this before you need it, not when you're impatient to buy. You'll create an account with your email and a password. Use a strong, unique password, not one you use anywhere else. And then, immediately, before you do anything else, enable two-factor authentication. 2FA means that even if someone has your password, they still can't get into your account without a second verification step, usually a code generated by an app on your phone. Use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator or Authy, rather than SMS if you can. SMS-based 2FA can be intercepted through SIM swap attacks. An authenticator app can't. When you set up 2FA, the exchange will give you backup codes. Write them down on paper, not in your phone's notes app, not in a screenshot. Paper, somewhere safe. These are your way back in if you lose your phone. Next, identity verification. Every reputable exchange will ask you to verify who you are. Government-issued ID, usually a passport or driver's license, and often a selfie. This is called KYC, Know Your Customer. It's a legal requirement. Here's the thing most people get wrong. This is a green flag, not a red one. It means the exchange is operating within a legal framework. If a platform lets you buy Bitcoin with no verification at all, That should make you more suspicious, not less. Regulated exchanges verify you because they have to. Unregulated ones don't have to. And the ones that disappear overnight often didn't. You're verified. Your 2FA is on. Your backup codes are written down and somewhere safe. Now you're ready to actually buy. The interface varies a little between exchanges, but the steps are essentially the same everywhere. Find the Buy section. Select the asset you want to buy. And be specific here. You want Bitcoin. BTC, not Bitcoin Cash, which is listed as BCH, not Bitcoin SV, which is BSV. These are completely different things with completely different histories. And they are not Bitcoin. BTC, Bitcoin. Enter the amount in your local currency. Say $20. The exchange will show you exactly how much Bitcoin that buys at the current price. Review the fee before you confirm. It should be displayed clearly. If it isn't, that's a problem. Confirm the purchase. Done. One more thing on timing, and I want to be direct about this. Don't try to time it. Don't wait for the price to dip. Don't wait for the right moment. Nobody, not analysts, not influencers, not anyone, consistently calls the perfect entry point. The people who claim they can are either wrong or trying to sell you something. Your first purchase is about learning the process. Once you've done it once, you understand exactly how it works. And any future decisions you make will be from that informed position. That's the goal. Not perfecting the entry, just going. You've confirmed the purchase. So what happens now? Within a few minutes, sometimes faster, your Bitcoin will appear in your exchange wallet. You'll see a number. It'll probably look like a very small decimal. 0.00021 Bitcoin, something like that. That's real Bitcoin, recorded permanently on the blockchain. Yours, for as long as your account is secure. Which brings us to the most important thing that happens after the purchase, and it has nothing to do with the price. Secure your account. If you haven't already enabled 2FA, do it now. If you haven't written down your backup codes, do it now. If you use the same password you use for other accounts, change it now. The exchange is holding your Bitcoin on your behalf. Your account security is the thing standing between your Bitcoin and anyone who'd like to take it. Treat it accordingly. And then, keep learning. The next episode covers self-custody, what it means to hold your own keys, why it matters, and how to think about making that transition when you're ready. For most people, the journey looks like this. Buy on an exchange, learn how everything works, build confidence, then gradually move towards self-custody as your understanding and your holdings grow. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to do it today. But knowing where you're heading is part of doing this properly. You've just done something most people never do. Not because they couldn't, but because nobody ever made it feel like something they were allowed to do. You know what Bitcoin is. You understand why it exists. You've bought your first amount safely and deliberately. That's a different relationship with money than most people have. Hold on to that. Ready to take your first real step? Get the guide. Buying your first bit of Bitcoin. $15, link in the description. Bitcoin for Girls, the building of a beautiful future. See you next episode.